Most Catholics are praying the Rosary completely wrong, and it's why it feels empty when they pray it. I want to show you what's actually happening when you pick up those beads. Stay with me for 6 minutes. This will change how you pray for the rest of your life.
Here's what most Catholics experience. You pick up the Rosary, you say the words, and you feel absolutely nothing. And after a while, you stop. Not because you stopped believing, but because it started feeling like a formality, like going through the motions of something that used to mean more.
Scott Hahn says this is one of the most common crises in Catholic prayer life. We've turned the Rosary into a recitation instead of an encounter. Stay with me, because what de Montfort discovered will completely change what you do when you pick it up.
Louis de Montfort spent his entire life teaching one truth about the Rosary, and it is this: the Rosary is not a prayer, it is a weapon. In The Secret of the Rosary, he writes that it is the most powerful means of obtaining the conversion of sinners, not saints, sinners, and of disarming the enemy of our souls. Here is what he means. When you pray a Hail Mary, you are repeating the words of the angel Gabriel, "Hail, full of grace." You are repeating the words of Elizabeth, "Blessed are you among women." You are not inventing a prayer, you are rehearsing heaven's own words about Mary, over and over, until your heart catches up with your mouth. And Bishop Barron adds this: the Rosary is a school of contemplation. Each mystery is not a fact to remember, it is a scene to enter. The Annunciation, the Nativity, the agony in the garden. You are not observing these moments from a distance, you are walking into them, and that is where transformation happens. When you pray the sorrowful mysteries, you enter the Garden of Gethsemane with Jesus. You watch him sweat blood. You stand at the scourging. You walk the road to Calvary. And here is what de Montfort says happens in that prayer. Your suffering stops being alone. It gets placed inside his. And suddenly the weight you are carrying, the shame, the exhaustion, the feeling of being too broken, is not separate from Christ. It is inside his passion, and he has already carried it to the other side.
Here is what most Catholics were never taught, and it answers why you feel too sinful or too empty to pray it.
De Montfort wrote that the devil trembles at the sound of the Rosary being prayed, not because you are holy, but because Mary is. And when you pray those beads, you are invoking the intercession of the one God placed as enmity against the serpent from the very beginning. Genesis 3:15, the Proto-Evangelium, the first gospel. God says to the serpent, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers." This is not a devotional image. This is a declaration of war. And the Rosary is the weapon Mary has placed in your hands for that war. So when the thought comes, "I am too sinful to pray this. I am too far gone. I am not worthy," that is not your conscience. That is the enemy. Because he knows what happens when broken people pick up the Rosary.
Mary brings broken people to Jesus anyway, every single time. So here is what you do today.
Not when you feel ready, not when you feel holy. Today. First, find your Rosary. If you don't have one, use your fingers. The saints did this. Pick it up in whatever state you are in right now. Second, pray one decade. Just 5 Hail Marys. Choose one mystery, any one. The Annunciation, Gethsemane, the Resurrection. And as you say each Hail Mary, try to place yourself in that scene. You don't have to feel anything. You just have to show up. Third, when shame tells you you're not worthy to be doing this, say this back. "Mary, I have nothing to offer. Take me to your Son anyway." And then keep going. That is the prayer de Montfort says moves heaven. Let me pray with you before we close. This is for everyone watching who feels too broken, too far, too sinful to hold those beads.
The saints didn't pray the Rosary because they always felt close to God. They prayed it precisely when they didn't, and that is how they found their way back.
Mary, Mother of God and our Mother, we come to you with nothing, no holiness to offer, no perfect prayer.
Just the weight we are carrying and the beads in our hands. Take us to your Son. Bring our broken prayers into his passion. We trust you. Amen. Next week, the dark night of the soul. What happens when God goes completely silent? Not because he has left, but because he is waiting for something. If you have ever felt spiritually abandoned, that one is for you. Subscribe so you don't miss it.